Hi there, I'm Mistelle, an American girl who called the cornfields of Illinois home until over 10 years ago when I started navigating the chaos of life overseas. If you've ever felt that itch for something more, that whisper telling you to break free from the ordinary, you're in the right place. This podcast is your backstage pass to the wild ride of moving abroad. I'm here to pull back the curtain on the real journey, sharing stories that are funny, dramatic, and sometimes downright unbelievable. We'll explore the gritty details, from battling culture shock and navigating tricky visa processes to celebrating those small victories that make it all worth it. So whether you're daydreaming about a new life abroad or already in the thick of it, grab your passport and let's explore what it really means to live life beyond borders. Welcome to A Broadly Speaking. Hey there, friend. Welcome to the A Broadly Speaking podcast. My name is Mistelle. I'm your friendly neighborhood American turned foreigner, professional overthinker, and the unofficial patron saint of anyone Googling how to move abroad with kids at 2 a.m. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. You already know I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. I don't believe in gatekeeping, and I definitely don't believe in hiding the truth of what it is. Today, we're talking about something that you need to take care of. And unfortunately, it is probably a little more real than most of us want to talk about, which is all your stuff. Because listen, moving abroad is not just about passports and paperwork and Pinterest boards. It's about standing in your living room at midnight, surrounded by Target bins, wondering why the hell you own 3 fondue sets and a box of college notes you've moved 4 times but have never actually opened. It's about the fear of leaving behind pieces of your life and the guilt of taking too much of it with you because you know that it costs money to move your shit. And yes, it's also about your grandma's china, literal and metaphorical. So pour yourself a drink. Maybe it's wine or water or an oat milk latte because you're exhausted from staying up till 2 a.m. I don't judge. And let's get real. This is What the Hell Do I Do with All My Stuff? Moving Abroad Without Losing Your Mind, or Your Grandma's China edition. Ready? Let's go. The truth is, this feels really, really, really effing hard. It does. It feels really damn hard to let go of all your stuff because it's not just stuff. I know there's this minimalism culture that would have you believe that it's just stuff and you can KonMari your life until your soul is empty as your closet. But let's be honest, your things really aren't just things. They're memory holders, identity markers, proof that you were here, you built a home, you lived a whole life before. I remember standing in our first living room before we moved to Basel in 2013. My husband was holding a box labeled MISC, lovely miscellaneous nonstop nonsense, which, by the way, is always the scariest label. And I found myself crying over a pile of textbooks. Textbooks. Honestly, they were from college and they were things that I couldn't believe that I still kept. And I knew in that moment, it wasn't about the textbooks. It was about leaving the version of myself who collected them, who learned from them. And well, we ended up packing them. This is why sorting through your stuff before you move abroad is totally emotionally exhausting. It's not just a task. It's unpacking your entire life story. And no, a color-coded spreadsheet alone won't fix that. And taking that same box of textbooks 4 years later to the recycle center without a car is going to be the death of you, but you'll do it anyway. So how do I deal with this? After years of helping families and people moving abroad, and even myself do this, here's the system that I recommend the most. There are 3 buckets for yourself. Keep it, ship it, and let it go. It's simple in theory, but it is absolutely brutal in practice. So let's break it down a little bit more so you can see what I'm talking about. Keep means what's going to stay behind, whether that's in storage or with your family. Things that you love, but you don't need daily in your life abroad. For us, these are things like our wedding album, Yes, it was the early 2010, so it's huge and leather bound. Oh my God. We ended up bringing it over later, but at the time after my daughter was born, but when we moved, we left that all behind. We left out holiday decorations that my grandma sent us and then my mom gave us. We left those behind because we didn't need to add those to it. We also left behind a grandfather clock that still to this day is now probably my parents because they had it longer than we did, but we didn't want to move that across the ocean. Eventually, like I said, the wedding album came. We brought that along after a trip back home after my daughter was born. And then my parents brought along the most important of the Christmas ornaments that we had. They brought those each time they visited. They would wrap a handful of them into their luggage and then leave them behind. So we did eventually get them, but we didn't need to bring them on our first trip across the ocean. Ask yourself, would I buy this again if it got destroyed? If the answer is no, but it makes you cry to part with it, then it can keep, but store it well. If it neither makes you cry, nor would you replace it if it got destroyed, maybe it's time to move on to the next or to the last category. Bucket 2 is your ship category. Ship is what you want to actually take with you. These are your daily life items, the things that make your new home feel like home. For us, these are something like kitchen gadgets that we use every day. I happen to absolutely love to cook, and the thought of leaving some of these things behind, well, we just didn't. But I will say, do not move stuff that won't fit. Stupidly, we moved cookie sheets that were too small too big for our small oven. And while I wanted our kitchen gadgets, I should have checked the size of the oven before we moved and not moved with those because it was really a waste of time and space. The second thing to consider shipping are books, for example, that I read again and again and still read to this day. If you're someone who needs a paper book to read because it feels good and you don't want to live only on your iPad, pack your books. It's okay. When we moved from Vienna, to back to Switzerland, we packed my daughter's favorite toys and stuffed animals. We made sure that those came with us. We would never leave those behind. My husband is a coffee connoisseur, I will say. So we brought all of his coffee gear with us as well. And then we brought a few framed photos. Because we had company moved or company sponsored shipping, we were allowed to bring a lot more stuff with us. We weren't paying for it. But if you're paying for it yourself, shipping is expensive. International shipping can be more than between $3,000 and $10,000, depending on the volume, the distance, and your insurance. And custom fees are literally no joke. So if you're moving yourself and you don't have a company sponsored move, if you're moving yourself and you don't have 10 grand to spend on your move, be ruthless. If you can buy it there, don't ship it. European IKEA is still IKEA. Your $30 toaster isn't worth the $500 in shipping fees. So be super ruthless with yourself, especially if you're self-funding your move. Bucket 3 is probably the most uncomfortable and the hardest bucket to put things in. And it's also the most freeing. It's the let it go. Mark it Elsa if it makes you feel better, right? Let it go. Let that shit go. Clothes you never wear, books you'll never read again, gifts you kept out of guilt, old bedding, broken electronics, those jeans that won't fit today, but maybe one day they possibly will. Let that shit go. You are not erasing your past. You're making space for your future. I'm not saying to throw it out. So I take that let it go pile into 3. So instead of just 3 buckets, you sort of have 6. But in the let it go pile, look at things that you can donate or give away. Those, especially if you're someone who feels very strongly about stuff. I gave a bunch of my old clothes to a women's shelter, especially business attire that I didn't need anymore. We gave a bunch of clothes to a women's shelter locally because it made me feel better. We took out, my daughter is downsizing the volume of toys that she has. That can also go to a local women's shelter or a local foster care center. There's always places to take those toys and things that you need to donate or to get rid of. There's the donate or give away pile. Then there's the sell pile. What can you get money for? Or what can you get money against, right? So things like kitchen gadgets you're never going to use. People will always buy those type of things. Consider that electronic voltage is very different in the US versus Europe. So if you're moving, you don't need to move your blender unless you also want to move a 10-pound converter that comes with it. So look at, hey, can I sell my old bikes that I don't need to move with me? Can I sell my old blender or kitchen appliances that don't need to move with me? Get money for your move that way. And then the third bucket in that is trash, right? That's things that, like, God help us, I love my daughter, but she gets so much paperwork from school that I don't need to take with me. Pick the 5 or 10 most critical things that matter to you. Either leave those behind with your family or friends or in storage, or take those 10 things with you. You do not need an entire box the size of a moving box of grade 1 through 6 stuff, right? You can actually leave some of that behind, and it's okay. Everything else go in the trash. It's okay. They're never going to look at it again. I can tell you, my mom saved all of my stuff and it's still in the basement somewhere and I still haven't looked at it. So just consider that as you're making the move. Take your keep it, your ship it, your let that shit go piles. And then in your let that shit go pile, either give it away, sell it, or throw it out. That's how you're going to separate. And it feels like a lot, but as soon as you get started, take one room at a time instead of trying to do it all at once, and it'll feel more doable. Okay, let's talk about the real elephant in your U-Haul, which is all your sentimental stuff. That might be grandma's children or grandma's china, or your kid's first drawing, or letters from your college sweetheart, or your dad's old guitar. Here's the truth. If you're paying for your own move, you gotta consider that you probably don't want to take it all. And you shouldn't feel guilty for that. You can choose to digitalize your photos, for example, so you can take pictures of your kids' art and still take it with you without physically taking the art. You can keep one piece that represents the memory. You can gift heirlooms to other family members who'll use them or want them. You can repurpose old items. Like you can make old shirts into quilts, you can make jewelry into new pieces. You don't have to keep every single thing. And yes, if that one teacup matters the most to you because it has a chip in it and it reminds you of sitting and having tea with your grandma, then pack it, bring it along. It's okay. Your mental peace is worth the shipping cost if that's what you need. But just consider again when you're going into the three buckets, if it's too hard to let go, then don't. But also consider that you have to pay to ship it. So balance those two things out. So going back to the three bends of the get rid of that shit category, let that shit go. Selling is great for furniture. It's great for branded clothing, for baby gear that you'll no longer use, for appliances that you don't need anymore. You have platforms like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, Poshmark, OfferUp, Macari. There's so many of them. But start early. Don't try and do it the week before you move because it's going to feel overwhelming. We did that in Basel. Oh my God, it was insane. We were trying to get rid of our sofas and holy shnikes. I felt so stressed because the movers were coming in 2 days and we still didn't have our sofa picked up. Buyers do tend to flake. Deals tend to fall through, and you don't want to be stressed at the last minute trying to do it. Donations are great for gently used clothes, kitchenware, toys. Choose real charities over landfills as much as you can. Like I said, there's women's shelters, there's refugee support centers, there's immigration support centers, there's schools. It both feels good and declutters your home and your space. You're likely downsizing when you move, so just consider that as well. You can choose to store stuff as well. Use climate controlled units as possible. Obviously, label every box clearly. Trust me, you'll forget what's in there. And MISC is the bane of my existence. Make a digital inventory so you know what's there and decide who has access in case of emergency. For us, the only things we kept could fit in my parents' house. We don't have a US storage unit. So it fits, like our grandfather clock is in my parents' house and it stays there and it's permanently theirs until they don't want it anymore. So set a calendar reminder for yourself to revisit those things in a year. Did I miss it? Do I still want it? Do I still need it? If yes, then keep it. If not, then let that shit go. Okay. Just be ruthless with your stuff, but also recognize the emotion that's tied to it. That is totally okay. You will have moments of those emotional landmines. What if I need this? But Mistelle, I could possibly fit into these size 2 jeans that I wore in college again tomorrow. I mean, I just have to lose 50 pounds, but I could totally do it. Let that shit go. Am I a bad daughter if I don't keep grandma's table? Oh my God, she gave it to my mom when I was 12 and I love this table. Here's what I tell all my clients and what I'm going to tell you. You're not obligated to carry every generation's belongings on your back. You're not required to want everything that people left. You're allowed to want less, and you're allowed to have a fresh start. Moving abroad is not just about geography, it's also about identity. It's about deciding who you want to be tomorrow, not who you were yesterday. And yes, your grandma still loves you, even if you leave her childhood china behind. I promise. Here's what I've learned after 11 plus years of living abroad with 3 different moves and countless client stories. Your stuff is your story, but it doesn't define it. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to keep some things and give the rest away. And your new life abroad is waiting for you, not your boxes. So let's make this real. Here's your what the hell do I do with my stuff practical checklist. Save this, bookmark it, write it down, whatever you need to do. Decide what you truly use daily. That's the things that you use every single day. And I don't mean like your bathtub. I mean things like your forks and spoons and knives. That's something you use daily. Do you need to take that with you? Is it sentimental to you, or is it something that you could sell and then replace in the new country? That's what you can consider. Digitalize sentimental items. So things like your child's paintings. You don't need to keep the physical painting. You can take a picture on your phone, upload it into your cloud drive, and done. You still have it, but you don't have the physical stuff. Decide what you're going to keep, ship, and let go. Research shipping and customs requirements early. Some of them are really, really freaking complicated. Start selling months in advance. I don't mean to sell your sofa and sit on the floor for 3 months, but negotiate with your buyer. Maybe you can sell your sofa and you can keep it for a month, right? There's ways to make this work. Make sure you label every single thing, especially if it's going to go into storage. Please don't label your boxes MISC. I would recommend to use storage sparingly. You have to pay for that. It ties you back. So unless you actually absolutely need it and you're not 100% sure you want to stay abroad, maybe you'll put a few less things in storage. And say goodbye to your guilt. You don't need to carry that with you, and you definitely don't need to pack it abroad. If this episode resonated and you're staring at your own piles of maybe boxes, I made something for you. I'm hosting a 7-day Jumpstart Your Move Abroad challenge starting July 28th. So if you're hearing this in real time, that's 2 weeks from now. It's $9. We're going to do 7 days of challenge on Telegram only. You don't have to wear pants. Telegram is a free messaging app. I will help you go through the process of moving abroad. That's going to be all 7 days of how in the world do I do this? And I'm ready to get actually moving. I got you. That's what we're going to do there. We'll go a little bit more into depth of what we did here across the different processes that you need to do to move abroad. Like I said, it's $9. I'll drop the link in the show notes below. It's cheaper than your Tuesday Starbucks run. Like, let's get you actually moving abroad. All right, my friend, that's it. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for dreaming, sorting, and maybe crying a little with me today. I hope that glass of wine was good. Remember, it's not about the boxes. It's about the life you're building on the other side. If this helped, share it with a friend, please, who wants to also move abroad. Leave a review so that more people can find us, and come hang out with me on Instagram at I am Mistelle for the messy, unfiltered real life abroad. And I'll see you next week on Abroadly Speaking. Until then, let it go, pack what matters, and build your next chapter. Life's too short to stay in one place. All right, my friend, I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to Abroadly Speaking. If today's episode got you dreaming a little bigger or thinking a little braver, go ahead and hit subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who's ready for their own adventure. And hey, don't be a stranger. Come hang out with me over on Instagram at I am Mistelle for the real, unfiltered life abroad. Keep that passport handy, and remember, life's too short to stay in one place.